and welcome to All the Things TV, where we tackle full living and goal getting with the grace and gift God gives. I'm Tiffany Jo Baker, and today I have with me one of my most fabulous friends, Nicole Clark. Thank you so much for being here.
You are so sweet, Tiffany. I have to talk about you though, because you are my girl. I love you for real. I love your heart just for the Lord. I love your heart for your family and just his people. What you are doing to make an impact for the kingdom is such a big deal. And it really, truly is an honor to know you, to walk alongside you, to be cheering you on, and to call you a friend. Really, like, you bless my life, you bless my soul. It is just, I'm so thankful for you. And I am thankful for Instagram for bringing us together.
The gram brought us together. I forgot. It's so cool.
Yes, yep.
And we live near each other, so we get to see each other in real life, which is so fun. So let me tell you about my friend Nicole. She just went off script and shouted out me, and thank you. You're so sweet. But now it's your turn. I'm going to shout out you. So my friend Nicole is a Texas native who loves Jesus and spends her days as a servant leader. Talk about a good heart. This is the one I love to lead with when I intro or talk about my friend Nicole. She's a former backup dancer. Now, if y'all know me, you know, I pretend to be a former backup dancer, but she was the real live backup dancer. She now uses her experiences in a service environment. She's a founder of a 501c3 women's ministry, dance studio consultant, podcast host, and children's ministry director. She thrives by creating and encouraging others, and that is my friend. But most importantly, she spends her time laughing and watching movies with her family, her husband Darren, and her daughter Delaney. Oh yay! Yes, I can't wait to talk with you. I know, and they are so adorable. Just the cutest little fam. I love it.
Thank you.
Well, there's so much I could pull out from your short bio there, and I know there's so many aspects to you and things that you've done. But I know a big piece of your heart is people dealing with loss. And people deal in the struggle of having a dream and having a baby dream, and the difficulties that come with that and loss that comes with that. And that's why you started a 501c3, where you just empower and encourage and come alongside and support women dealing with loss and family building difficulties. You know, I think that our society probably doesn't even understand how much loss and grief is in the world. You know, there's so many things, like where we lose jobs, we lose loved ones, we lose babies, we lose the thoughts and the dreams and the visions that we have for our life. We lose status, we lose positions. You know, there's so much loss. And with that comes grief, and comes all the ramifications of that. I know loss has been a part of your story and why you created this, and a part of a lot of people's story through you. So can you kind of tell me a little bit about the ministry and how it came about?
Yeah. I love this ministry so much. I love 12:12. It's just based off of Romans 12:12 about hope, patience, and prayer. And it really just, I guess, a little bit of my dreams, just in, you know, what I saw for my life, but also to expand my family. And I have to tell you this quick story is that I'm going to be super transparent. I'm almost 40 years old, and really just a few months ago, someone brought to my attention that the Lord uses loss to get my attention. And I did not realize that whatsoever. But I really had to kind of go back and process and see those different puzzle pieces. And he really does use loss in my story. But I love that he kind of, he really just turned that around for his good and for his glory. And so no, those things did not feel good in, you know, during the process, but I do look back now and I can just give thanks and have a super grateful heart for those things. And so I have a super, like you said, I love to create, I love to encourage. So I do have an entrepreneur spirit. And I have tried to start probably 20 different organizations or jobs or businesses, because I'm like, yes, I know that I can do this. And it just didn't work out. It just never, ever worked out. And, I definitely was grieving that so much. And then, I met my wonderful husband. He is 21 years older than I am. And so for him, and he's an only child. So for him, he's like, I really don't need, I'm not looking for kids. I'm okay, with just us. But me, I come from like the Huxtables, like that's what people call our family. And so, I have 2 other siblings and we love family. We love being around each other. So I was like, yo, no, we need kiddos, and I think that this is really what God is calling us to do. And so, of course, kind of walk through the process and realize that things were not going to be as we had hoped. And I love my husband so much. He's such a God fearing man. He loves the Lord. And, we tried for 12 months. And I was like, okay, my doctor's saying, well, like, we've got to go in for tests. We've got to do all the things. And he's like, nope. If this is going to happen, the Lord will provide a way for us. And he's like, you need to chill. Everything is not on your time. And I was like, well, yes, it is.
Yeah, that stinks.
Yeah. And so then I finally just, surrendered. I let it go. And that next month we got pregnant with Delaney, which was such a blessing. Like, so she is an answered prayer. And so just, kind of to fast forward, we have that conversation again of wanting to expand our family. And again, this was like such a huge deal for me because my husband was like, oh, we have Delaney, our family is complete. And so now we're talking about expanding. And I instantly thought that was for me. When Darren told me that we were going to try again, I thought it was for me, in my personal gain. And again, fast forwarding, I don't know, 3 to 5 years of trying, I literally did everything in my power, my will to have a baby. I changed doctors. I went vegan. I got all of the toxins out of the home. I, did any sort of wives' tale remedy, oils. I mean, you name it, I did it. And I clearly remember just feeling the strong presence of the Lord and telling me to stop and slow down, and pay attention to him. And that really got my attention, especially because we had just experienced a super early loss. And I learned this along the way, that you can't compare your experiences and your losses. And so still that it hurts. It still hurts to talk about it, even though it was so early. But through all of that, he showed me that through my loss and my hurt, that he was going to create something for other women to remind them that they were not alone, and that there are other people out there to help them, to walk alongside them. And again, just to be with them, to help lift their eyes to Jesus. And I truly consider it an honor to be able to serve women and families just in that way. And I will never forget a conversation that you and I had at the very beginning, because it was just during like loss week, just like pregnancy loss week and things. And I was like, this is so hard, to carry this. And it really is to carry these burdens for other people. But I truly believe that this is what God has called me to do. Again, to create and encourage. And so I love this space. I love this space for women. And just to have the opportunity to have different even avenues and places where there's something for everyone. So regardless of where where your journey has led you, you have a place to go. So I know that was a lot, but
no, it was
I
so
love
good.
1212. I'm so excited
And
to
it's
just to share,
amazing.
talk about
And
it.
I just love how your friend or mentor was able to find your thread and identify the thread in your story, you know, and how God uses the thread to showcase more of him and to allow you to bring life from the loss and the experience. How do you see, I mean, losing a loved one, losing something that we have put in a position in our life, figuratively or symbolically. What is some, like, the process, maybe the grief process you see people go through as they're adjusting to the loss and dealing with it and moving forward?
Oh man, I know that grief process is a little bit different from for everyone, but I think those common threads that we see is just a divide, and people, which to me it's okay, like you can share whatever you need to share with God, like he is there for you, he hears you, like he wants you to be open and honest. But I see a divide with people's faith and in what has happened in their situation. And so I think that's one of the first things that I really try hard to do, is again to remind them that God sees them and God really does love them and has a perfect plan for their life. So again, it may not feel good right now, but he will redeem it in some way. So no, I'm not that person that's like, oh, everything is going to be okay. Like, hey, if we've got to sit in the dark for a little while, like, hey, I will sit with you. The ministry is going to sit with you, but we also are going to remind you that we serve an amazing and faithful God who just like cares for us so much. Like, that's why we were made, like we are made just to like worship and love God. And so I see that divide. And then of course, we've got anger and just sadness and just, and I think that just what the ministry focuses on is just, hey, you are loved. Whatever you're going through, it is okay. Whatever you're feeling, it's okay. And, and challenge yourself to sit in those moments and to stay there, not forever, but at least try to stay in that and stay in that to find some sort of connection with the Lord during that, and saying like, hey, okay, I'm feeling this, but why am I feeling this? Like, what do I need to be learning, in this moment? And granted, it's not overnight. It's not something that you're like, oh yeah, okay, I'm going to sit in it. Because I still have a hard time doing that. When I'm grieving something, when something's not going right, I'm like, oh man, this is awful, instead of, excuse me, sitting quietly with the Lord. But those are kind of some of those common threads that I see.
So true. And I love how you put it, that divide, that line, because we have to, how do we rectify the life that we imagined with what we're living and the God that we serve? And so I think we all come to those seasons in our life where we have to really figure it out. I grew up in a very faith-filled, charismatic faith, where we are on, we believe the promises, the Bible, is yes and amen, on the faith side, on the full side, on the God can do, on the mountain side, right?
Yes.
And so I had to wrestle with the God that I knew and what I was experiencing.
Yes.
And that line. And I realized through it that he's with us in the hills and the valleys, and that he's a God who knows what it's like to have victory, and he's a God who knows what it's like to suffer. And he went through all of that for us. He doesn't cause it, but he's with us in it. And, even thinking about that line, John 10:10, that says, the thief comes to steal, to kill, and to destroy, but I have come that you may have life, and life more abundantly. And so knowing who the author is of it, and that God loves us so much that he allowed the loss of his son the life of his son to go through it for us. I mean, it just blows my mind. But that divide and that process, I think, is so pivotal and crucial for us. And I love that you and your ministry walks alongside people as they're wrestling through the spiritual, emotional, and physical parts of the loss. It's huge because it can determine what side of the coin, what side of the line, the divide they end up on the other side.
Yes.
So powerful. So one of your verses, I had asked you for some of your verses that you love, and it says 2 Corinthians 4:1. This is one of your verses. Therefore, since through God's mercy, we have this ministry, we do not lose heart. What does that mean to you?
Oh man. Okay. I'm going to be transparent again. Okay. I know context is everything. And so I have not just gone head first into, the context, but for me, when things are hard, when things are not going my way, when I am just like in the valley with the things that God has blessed me with, just, specifically ministry, like that, the Lord, he called me to do this. He called me, which is crazy still to think like I am not worthy. I do not deserve it at all. And so for him to point me out and say, you're going to do this, like, I can't give up, like, because I was shown so much grace, so much mercy, and he saved me. I mean, Jesus saved my life. And so I can't give up. And if I can just share or shine just a little bit of hope into someone's life, then I am going to do whatever I can to do that. And it is so hard. It is hard. It's so challenging. I majorly struggle with an approval idol. I super struggle with, comparison. And so to see, different organizations or ministries like doing like these awesome things, and making this impact, like I have to reel it in and say, even if it's for the one, and like, I was the one, like Jesus came after me. So I don't need to think of this ministry or platform as like, I've got to reach millions of people. No, I really don't. I need to just be focused on the one. And so that's just what that means to me. Like, I can't give up. I've got to keep going until the Lord tells me, stop it. I got to keep going.
You do. Well, what are a few ways that life has come out of loss that you've seen personally and through the people that you've been a part with?
Oh man. Okay. I'm going to try to say this really fast. Like, my biggest thing really was just being a backup dancer. I was a backup dancer for Justin Timberlake, and I was like, that was the coolest thing ever. Like, it was so awesome, so much fun. And my best friends were a part of that. Like, so I got to see the world with my best friends. And then, life happens. And I always say, like, I was under the influence. I was under the influence of other people. I didn't know who I was in Christ. And so I just was like a follower, which is so awful, but, it was part of my story. Okay, whatever.
It's a part of a lot of people's story. Yes.
I know. Yeah. And so really through that, I lost everything. I lost my best friends. I lost a career that I loved. And yes, my identity totally was in that, but I lost so many things that were just a part of my life, and I had to start over, and I didn't know how to start over. And so I walked through depression, anxiety, just all the things, because I was like, I was living this like, super life that I'm thinking like is way up here. Now I'm quote unquote normal. And I was like, oh, this is awful. I don't want to be normal. And so, yeah, I just had to, which I didn't know at the time, but I had to mourn. I had to grieve that loss. And so thankful that, again, like the Lord just kind of swooped in and was just like, hey, no, you're not there anymore, but I'm with you right now. And I think if I would not have been able to heal from that, that I would still be stuck in that place. And so I say, like, I work at an awesome place. I have an amazing ministry, my family, my friends, my support system. I would not have any of that if I would not have healed from that loss. And so that is really one of my biggest stories, is because, I mean, I was stuck. I was really stuck with just like sadness, anger. I mean, I think I was in the bed. I couldn't even tell you, like, could not get up. And my sweet mom, she felt for a long time that if I called, she had to answer the phone, you know, and which that is like not a great place to be, but, you know, so thankful for God just like pulling me out of that pit.
He's so good. And it really shows us, because I've been through, you know, circumstances of loss and then coming out on the other side, and just heartache, the power of peace, the power of joy, and how that really is more valuable. Peace, joy, purpose, those things are so much more valuable than what things on the outside, and the external things and the material things and the position things. I mean, it's priceless. You really even can't put a dollar sign on it, or a thing on it. But, well, my friend, you are awesome. Thank you so much for sharing a piece of your story. We're going to come back and do another episode with you, but I so appreciate you sharing your heart, your life, your loss, your love with everybody who's in your life, and for people are just blessed to be around you. So thank you for all that you do, and for being on here today.
Thank you. Oh, thanks.
You're amazing. Well, friends, that's another episode of All the Things TV. I'm Tiffany Jo Baker, helping you fuel and fulfill your faith journey through the ups and the downs. Now go do all the things that you were created to do with the grace and the gifts God gives you.